Why me? I used to ask myself, why me? Our third place award recipient asked these questions, and then she answered them. My mother was my whole world, and I was hers. I knew she wasn't my real mom, but God sent me to her, which made me hers. Our candidate is describing her aunt. The student was living with her aunt because her biological mother suffered from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia and was in jail in California. Then, when our student was just 9 years old, the woman she knew as her mother passed away from a heart attack. She and her 5 brothers went to live with their grandparents, who tried to make middle school as normal as possible. Her grandmother died from complications with diabetes during Thanksgiving of this student's freshman year. Her grandfather tried to continue caring for her, but suffered from a heroin addiction, causing Child Protective Services to remove her from what she believed to be a safe home. Instead, she was placed with an alcoholic aunt and fell into deep depression. Then the aunt sought to be removed from the guardianship responsibilities, and the student was placed with an uncle. But it wasn't home. By age 15, she asked the judge if she could pick where she would live. She picked her recently married brother. During the process of formalizing the guardianship, her brother was murdered, making it the second of her brothers to be murdered. Then her grandfather fell into a coma with no chance of recovering. She had to help make the decision to remove life support systems, resulting in his death. Why me? Why me? She then began answering these questions. She poured herself into her studies, sports, and work. She works hard in her studies and maintains a 3.52 grade point average. She is a center fielder on her school's varsity softball team, and she works 20 hours per week in the fulfillment department of Target. Yet she still takes time to volunteer at Serenity Childcare, New Life Worship Center for her youth ministry, and helping to feed the homeless. The school counselor, Quiana Miller, writes, "To meet this student is to love her. To know her story is to fall in love with her." Ms. Miller described that her heart filled with joy and respect as she wrote the recommendation. Ms. Miller first became the student's counselor in 6th grade after the death of the student's aunt mother. Despite the counselor shedding tears over the student's plight, she described the student as not being angry or seeking pity, just the opposite. The sweet, humble, spirited young woman was and still is always looking to help improve the quality of life for others. Dr. Maggie Hernandez Bishop, an assistant superintendent in the school system, describes this student as exuding focus and determination. She is caring, respectful, and patient, and she became a leader among her classmates. Dr. Bishop further describes the student's tenacity and ability to see the positive even in the darkest of days as being a testament to those she has lost. It is without question that I know they are cheering her on and are so proud of what she has accomplished thus far. When thinking of this student, Dr. Bishop was reminded of a Maya Angelou quote, "But still, like dust, I'll rise." Her tenacity is infectious. She will achieve her goals and will not be subdued. During the interview process, we asked this student what advice she would give to some other person in her situation. Without any pause, she responded, "Don't lose your voice. Put one foot in front of the other, and life doesn't get easier." From the application, essay, and recommendations, we begin to see certain themes about this student. Yes, she's been through tragedy after tragedy, and yes, she has persevered. But additionally, we see all goals: tenacity, respect, patience, and compassion. She set goals. She has a tenacity and patience to achieve these goals. She respects those around her and strives to make their lives better. So during the interview, we asked this student what she would be at age 30. Her answer: happy, self-sufficient, have goals, and be a human being. And boy, will she. This student has already been admitted to Indiana University in IUPUI. She wants to pursue a degree in social work. Is it any surprise she wants to be a school social worker? She is willing to share her stories of physical, emotional, and mental setbacks with her future students. She described, "I still vividly remember how it felt to be taken from what I felt was a safe haven with little to no regard of my feelings or ideas. As a school social worker, I want to change that." Now the student resides with her widowed sister-in-law and 2 nieces, ages 1 and 2. Her sister-in-law shares her home, her heart, and her advice. And this student has answered, "Why me?" The greatest lesson I have learned from my past is that sometimes you have to look past your current situation and look into what you want your future to look like and figure out how to get there. As she told us, Be very determined. Don't make excuses. Show up. The student has done all of that and more. We have no doubt that she will show up for her future students. And while she described her softball hitting style as often bunting because she is very fast, we think she hit a home run. And we think she'll do it again and again for her future students. Please join me in welcoming our third place scholarship recipient to the stage. From Pike High School, Candace Stallings.
So I think most of us can agree that every life has a purpose. And you talked about voice. So what is your voice?
My voice is advocating for myself. It was a time that I didn't think my voice mattered, so I stopped talking, and that never changed my situation. So when I start advocating for myself, my situation changed.
That is a hard thing to teach even the oldest of people. So when you say advocating for yourself, if there's someone in this room who's thinking, daggone it, if she can do it, I can do it. But that first step is always the hardest step. So if there's someone sitting in silence here today and they're looking at something huge, how do you take that first step? What do you do? How do you act? I mean, I don't know what to do, but you're giving them power. So help me out. How do you take that first step if you need to be heard?
The first thing you do is step. You gotta stop thinking about it, and you just have to act on it. If you think about it, it's never gonna be the right time to say, hey, I don't like that. You just have to say it. When you get the feeling, say it. It doesn't matter how you make the next person feel. You matter. You come first.
That deserves a round of applause. Final question for you. You were asked about, when you're 30, what that's gonna look like. As you can see out in the room, most of us in this room are yet 25. Those of us that wear television makeup, I'm only 21. But where do you see yourself? Is it in that high school? Is it working with kids? Where is that voice gonna be heard loudly in a couple of years?
Honestly, I'm not sure, but I see myself saving lives, just like being self-sufficient. I think I don't want to say that I'm somewhere or force myself to be somewhere. I just think I'm going to let life take its course, of course, setting goals, attaining my goals, just living life.
That's a perfect answer. Candace Stallings, everyone. Please give her a round of applause.